I'ma make a statement day by day. Y'all better come my way. Y'all better come my way. Okay, and say, y'all better come my way. I'ma make a statement day by day. Peace out, up. Put them in the air, and go rise up.
Welcome to Jam Packed, where we try to pack in as much goodness and dope conversation as we can in the mystery time given. And let's just be real, it helps me stay accountable on time. I'm your host, Jamila, and we have a super amazing treat for y'all today. I'm really excited for y'all to get to know his journey and what he's up to now and these gems that he's about to drop on y'all. But before we get into that, make sure that you follow, you subscribe, all that good stuff. If you want to watch, go to youtube.com/jampacked. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, little ding. And then on Instagram @Jampacked Show, as well as on Twitter, it's the same thing. And I am in these Clubhouse streets if you would like for me to be out here repping whatever the fuck we repping. So without any further ado, y'all, we've got a super amazing treat. He is a celebrity makeup artist. Just to drop a little fun fact, he was a part of E's Academy Awards red carpet broadcast. He is the creator and the host of Back on Air, produced by Embassy Row, which comes out weekly. As of March 2021, officially he's in remission as a leukemia survivor. He uses his platform to share his beauty work as well as to advocate for the queer cancer community by spreading awareness for BeTheMatch. And just so y'all know, BeTheMatch.org is a life-saving organization that cures blood cancers and diseases like leukemia and sickle cell via bone marrow transplants. It's free to sign up, and they do need more people of color to sign up and to join. And all of those details will be in the show notes. As an ambassador for BeTheMatch.org, he is focusing on diversifying the bone marrow registry and spreading the importance of signing up. Y'all, he is out here and he is doing it. He loves chihuahuas, the color pink, and Britney Spears, y'all. Joining us, folks, I bring to y'all Jared Lipscomb. Woo!
Oh, I love that intro. Can I get that intro every day of my life, please?
Yes, definitely. I was very nervous. I was like, I need to do this justice. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
If this was a core of opinion, let me tell you something, justice has been served. So here we go.
Thank you. You already have my little giddy lesbian heart going already. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out. I know that you're super busy, and you're out here. You're doing so many different, amazing, great things. Wow, I'm like, where do we start? Your drink of choice is you said either water or Dr. Pepper or Coca-Cola Classic if you're being naughty. Drum roll, please. What is your drink of choice?
We went with the Diet Dr. Pepper today. So
nice.
That's what the fridge offered with me right now, because of the pandemic and battling cancer. I live with my parents, so I get a nice assortment of beverages. I'm not able to partake in some alcohol right now, so I have to stick with, edibles and just normal medication and soda for now. Soda's my cheat.
Yeah.
And I love the stuff.
So it's like, how long? So is it until, because is it 5 years that they officially mark you as like kind of being technically in the clear?
Yeah, it's definitely like the 5 years in the clear. That's like the marker for, okay, it'll always be something that follows you around. And I think anyone who's diagnosed with an illness that doesn't completely disappear, because, there is actually technically no cure for cancer. All they do is get rid of the cancer cells. So even with my transplant, it replaced all the stem cells in my body with, with new stem cells, but that doesn't mean that the cancer doesn't live deep, deep within my bones and couldn't come back. So it's never a cure. It's always in the back of your mind, but 5 years, if you can go 5 years without it, the chances of it coming back go down ginormously. So we want to make it to the 5-year mark. I've already made it, like you mentioned, I've already been, in remission, official remission just for a couple of months, but I've been in remission since my transplant, really for almost a full year. Mm-hmm. It's kind of complicated with the transplant part, but the good news is I maintain remission, and I've been maintaining remission, and it's official. So now my 4 more years to go for me to be in the clear,
Yeah, I'm counting that year. That's so true. Cause your transplant was officially March 2020, correct?
Yes.
And I can't wait to get into that and talk about that, and even how you discovered how all of that happened. But I want to get to the beginning of who Jared is. And I know you lived like around the South, but your home base was really more so Florida. I thought it was interesting because for you, your dad is an Episcopalian priest, correct?
Correct.
And there was not really like an official coming out for you, correct? Like how was that?
Yeah, I always describe it as this, like, I know being gay, as you know, is a sexuality, but we've turned, being queer is a lifestyle. It's a way you are, it's who you are innately. And I just like to describe it, the best I can think of it is I've always innately been queer. So it wasn't a secret that as I grew up, it wasn't a secret. And I know some things are cliches, like playing with Barbies and ponies and My Little Ponies and all that stuff. And you can't say, well, just because you played with a Barbie doesn't make you gay. But in my case, it was just a side effect of, or of being gay and being queer at such a young age. So I think my parents always knew that I would eventually be, come out as gay at some point. So I did still come out technically, just to be like, okay, it's official. Like, just, we're signing on the dotted lines. It is official.
Just so I'm not gonna, that I know that you know.
No, I'm not going to marry a girl. I'm not going to date a girl. Like, it's just not happening. But yeah, it was pretty a non-event for my family, which is nice. Not everyone gets that. And I realize how privileged I am, especially to have a religious household that was accepting of me. And that's thanks to my parents just being so willing to be open as the world changed. Because, they had me in 1988. The world was a different place then. It was a different place in 1998. It was a different place in 2008. It was a different place in 2018. And now it's still a different place. So the one good thing is they've always been able to grow with the times. So, I'm very lucky that it was an easy process coming out to them and with my family and stuff. That was not part of my journey, was not a negative one. Of course, I dealt with bullies in a harsh way, but not familial. They had my back. So that was really great.
Well, I thought it was really dope and very interesting that before that you settled into Florida, that you had gone to a school where there were no folks of color, like not even really goth kids like that. Like it was. And then, you go to Florida and then you see the theater kids and they're super, confident doing their thing. And that was kind of like your crew, right? How did it feel to kind of have that experience of the town before and then being in Florida, that your family was cool with it? I mean, they felt it, but how did that feel for you though? Being, it was because it was like around 15 or 16, right? That you had kind of had that moment with them. So how was that for you?
I mean, it was really great. It was nice that we all agreed to leave that very small, toxic town that I lived in where the bullies really thrived. And we left for multiple reasons. My dad's work, obviously school was not working out for me there because of the extreme bullying. And of course, go figure, Florida was the safe place, which now it's like,
Right.
it's ass backwards. But at the time, it's so funny. The world was a little bit smaller, even, 15, 17 years ago. And even just being in a town close to a city like Orlando, which is where we were 45 minutes outside of Orlando, that allowed a more, liberal kind of mindset. And that's why my school that I went to, even though it was kind of a small school in Florida, it still had an art department with theater and choir. And I was able to express myself in these ways that are typical of kind of queer artistic expression, but also just being artistic in general. Because in my small town, it was just basketball, football, and baseball. Those were your only outlets. And that didn't work for me. And my parents realized that. So being able to find your crew friend-wise and being accepted by your family and all of that, even if it did happen in Florida, who knows? It felt really great, and it was a great positive experience. So again, a privileged thing for me, and I recognize it now in hindsight, but I'm grateful that I have that confidence, that I can now lend that confidence to someone who maybe they're not in that same position, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it was a good experience.
Yeah. When I did my deep dive, I had loved that you had mentioned that you met confident gay kids. And I always, in high school, I was like, man, these gay guys are so confident. And I had wished in high school that I had an ounce of that confidence of not giving a fuck. And, it almost made me feel like, damn, I almost wish that I would have come out earlier in life in high school to have that moment, have that time, because that is a special kind of confidence to be gay and to be out in high school. I can imagine Florida was a very special place then, but just in general, being a confident gay kid is incredible. And that's got to be quite an inspiration to say, wow, okay, this is love. This is support. This is what a support looks like. So I don't know. I've really resonated with that because it reminded me of James from my high school who loved Disneyland and conveniently loved my big titties. I don't know why, but he was but he loved himself some Disneyland. He ended up working at Disneyland. And then it reminded me of you, how you worked at, was it, oh gosh, you worked at the
Disney World.
Was it at Disney World? There we go.
Yeah, the one in Florida. Yeah.
Right. The one in Florida. Yeah. Well, isn't it like a whole expansion of you can go this way of Disney World. You can do this in Disney World. And it's
they have about 5
worlds.
theme parks in one. Yeah. So it's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been there once and I was like, wow, you really need to be here for quite some time to experience all of these different parks.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Oh my goodness. But fast forward, you move to LA, and I'm really fast forwarding. I know a lot happened between then and
but essentially, I mean, this is essentially where I was, because Florida was very much just, childhood, high school, some college, and then I moved to LA. So, and that's been my life ever since. So, I accept that fast forward.
I didn't want to be very dismissive in my fast forward, but I was like, fast forward. But because when you got to LA, because when you got to LA, that was a whole new world of so many different avenues from social work to working with the homeless, to being in your own bubble in Venice, to, so I love how it kind of all unfolded to how you became a makeup artist, a celebrity makeup artist. Share with the folks that journey, because I don't want to take away from any of this really dope story. And folks that are listening, stop what you're doing and listen closely.
Well, it really is just a lesson in kind of putting out there. And let me just preface it by saying, I'm not a hooey person. I'm not hippy dippy. I don't believe in magical crystal type stuff. That's just not my personality. And to those of you who believe that, power to you. But I will say there is some power in positive thinking, and just if you put yourself in the right direction, things work out. So basically, I was working in Venice. I ended up in Venice somehow. I call it the Venice bubble. In about 2013, 2014, people were not going past the 405, not going west of the 405 in Los Angeles. It was tight knit. I was working at the coolest restaurants in town. And I was really thriving and enjoying myself as a social butterfly in LA, especially being a waiter in my 20s. Because I was always used to waiters being kind of like second class, like, oh, you're the help, you're the servant. But in Venice, it was very much, oh, you're cool enough to work at this place, so you must be a cool cat, very classist and elitist. But
well, yeah, because Venice gets a bad rap of. Literally, it is a bubble.
White people, but it's the white people who made it the bad. I mean, that's what it is. They took they gentrified the fuck out of it, and they turned it into this overpriced, insane neighborhood. But I was there just on the cusp of that, right before the traffic was so bad on Lincoln and whatever. So the point is, I was in a cool restaurant where people respected me for working in this restaurant, but I would go home and I would see, as I'm driving home just down the street, I would see 12 kids my age working, being homeless, not working, begging for money or just asking if we had any spare food in the back of our restaurant where we're selling $17 fish tacos, and it's just like, what's going on here? And so I could not handle that. So I decided, well, there's nothing I can do directly. I'm very practical. So I'm like, I'm not going to win the lottery tomorrow and cure world hunger. So that's not an option. So what can I do directly in my community? I got on Google and said, let's find some ways to help specifically youth in Venice in my neighborhood. And I found Safe Place for Youth, which is an organization that's actually celebrating 10 years of being around. And that story, even of how they became founded, was amazing. It was a woman who was literally giving out brown sack lunches on the skateboarding boardwalk in Venice, and she turned this into an organization. So by the time I found it, it was already an established organization, and they just needed volunteers because they were working out of a church. They needed people to help unload the clothes, and we provided a hot meal, we provided hygiene necessities, and we provided, of course, case management and things like that, and clothes. And now I'm not a college graduate or anything. I was just a volunteer, but it meant something. And I was able to do that while being a waiter, because obviously being a waiter, you work a couple nights a week, and I had a bunch of free time, and I just could not party anymore. I could not party anymore. I was like, I have to do something else. And in the meantime, I was starting to be interested in doing makeup. I was doing drag on myself, but also, just kind of playing around with it, never thought anything of it. And simultaneously, my friends who I work with are like models and actresses and singers, and they're all doing photo shoots and music videos, and they're all trying to make it. So then they would start to see my makeup on myself when I would wear makeup for, Halloween or whatever costume contest and stuff. They would say, "Can you do that?"
First one.
Honey Boo Boo was my first one, yes. And they would basically say, "Can you recreate this? These looks are really pretty. Can you tone it down and put it on us like a same version, but maybe not 14-inch lashes? Maybe could we do a 1/2-inch lash instead?" And that happened. While I'm volunteering at the Safe Place for Youth, new lady volunteers. She clicks with me, we vibe, and it turns out she works directly with talent at NBC Universal, which owns Peacock, Bravo, E, all those networks. Mm-hmm. And she said, "What do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I'm, a waiter, but I'm trying to become a makeup artist." And she said, "Well, we are friends now." And next thing you know, I'm in the NBC Universal high-rise building doing talent for E! Daily Pop. I'm going live on E! News. I'm doing the red carpets, touch-ups at the red carpets for the Golden Globes, for the Academy Awards, for the Grammys. It's just like all because of this one person I met, because I decided I was so, and it's self-centered in a way of like, oh, I'm so tired of seeing, well, not self-centered, but I was tired of seeing these homeless kids on the youth on the street. And I was saying, not tired, like, oh, get them out of my sight. But I was just like, there's gotta be something else I can do.
Right.
And I had no idea that when I did that, it was going to lead to a makeup career. And that's why I believe, and trust me, I am not the savior of the situation. Like, this organization existed before me, and it's going to exist if I never go back to it and never talk about it again, because the work they do is so incredible. But to be a part of it, you know, it means something because it is still my life. So I'm happy to have been to be a part of it. And, yeah, and I just think it's weird, those things that work out that way, because I was not thinking money, success, career. I was thinking, okay, I have extra clothes. I can donate these. I can go work here. I can volunteer. And if I meet a new friend while I'm doing it, that's great. And I didn't know my friend was going to have connections to The Real Housewives, which is one of my favorite shows. And then I was going to go on to do Netflix Selling Sunset with Chrishell for seasons 1 and 2. None of that, you know, I didn't know any of that was going to lead to taking the time to stop and do a good deed, which is why I always say, take the time to do the good deed, no matter how simple it is. Mm-hmm. If it's $1 in your pocket and someone's on the corner, just give the fucking $1. You just never know. You truly never know. And I wouldn't have a career if I would have kept partying and didn't have a moment to look around and say, damn, this is a big problem in my community, this homelessness. If I wouldn't have had that moment to look around, I wouldn't be a makeup artist. So I don't want people to be motivated by selfish, like, oh, I hope I do this and I win the lottery. But also, like, good things do happen when you do good. So that's kind of like the lesson that I learned from that. And ever since that happened, I've continued to kind of keep that mentality. Let's keep doing good, you know, even in the face of cancer, even in the face of whatever. And good will continue to flourish from good, because good prospers good. Let's face it. Hate, it ends with hate. It stops, you know, there's a direct, and they keep trying. We see it with the Trumpsters. We see it with all those horrific people. They keep trying and trying, hate. And they'll get a little bit far, you know, they might bust into the Capitol for a minute, and but then it gets taken away, because nothing flourishes with hate and jealousy or negativity. It's all love. That's where it comes from. So I'm really happy and lucky that series of events led me to my career, and it was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you were going to Kentucky. Was it Kentucky?
Yes.
Kentucky.
It was Kentucky, yeah.
But even leading up to when you went to Kentucky, you began to not feel well, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct, yeah. So this is 2019. So I've been working as a makeup artist for several years now. And I started to get headaches, just felt unwell. And that feeling of sickness and whatnot kind of persisted. And eventually I, went to Kentucky and was there for doing makeup for a wedding, and I got really ill while I was there. And then I made it through the whole 3 or 4 days. And then on my flight back, I was extremely ill, got off the flight, went straight to an urgent care. They said it was pneumonia. Maybe I had gotten a weird tick or something from, being out in the bluegrass of Kentucky. And it was not that. And it was about 2 months of a 30-pound weight loss, searching for answers, going from doctor to doctor, from hospital to hospital, where finally one of my doctors stopped me and said, something's off. You need to go to a big hospital where they do research and where they can test you for everything, infectious diseases. Maybe you got something from flying into Kentucky, like you never know. And that's when I went to the hospital, and within 24 hours, after 2 months of mystery illness, within 24 hours of going to a big hospital, I was diagnosed with leukemia.
Yeah. And when you were, so you had gone to Kentucky for, was it Vanderpump Rules? Was it Jackson Brittany's wedding? And during that time, you were, like you said, you weren't able to eat, you were dehydrated, like you weren't able to even drink water, eat food. You weren't able to keep anything down. And you said that it was, in my deep dive, not just now, but in my deep dive, that it ended up being the ear, throat doctor so you had gone to all of these different doctors, and then it was the ear throat doctor said this could be something really, really serious.
And she even saw me on a Saturday and even said, like, she was like, yeah, I'll see you again. But like, I really don't think it's something to do with your ears, nose, or throat. And then when she saw me again, she was like, you need to go to a hospital. Like, you've been dealing with this for 2 months and you're not the same person you were 2 months ago. Like, something is up.
Yeah. That's scary. I mean, because leading up to that, your heart is racing, you're exhausted, you're out of breath. Like, all of these, coincidentally, these are the same symptoms that they're telling us of, like, if you have coronavirus. And this all happened before even the pandemic. And so when I was doing that research, I was like, wow, damn, like, these are the same kind of symptoms that they tell you to look out for, when really it could be anything. And you already are very worrisome about these kind of things.
Definitely.
So you were diagnosed with leukemia, and this is an aggressive leukemia that is primarily in 60 plus or 60 to 65 plus year old folks. And so in that moment of finding out this diagnosis, I know you were going through a whirlwind of emotions, but wow, I don't even know how to ask a question. I mean, because you try to put yourself in that situation. Like, how was that for you? Like, I know you immediately called your family, your mom, your sister is pregnant at this time. You know, what was going on internally with you? How were you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, when I heard the news, my mom had already flown an overnight. So even the second they thought that they were even testing for cancer, she got on an overnight from Florida. And so she was with me when they came in and said the news. And I think the first thing, I mean, it really is just the cliche. I mean, it's just shock and numbness, just like, what did you just say? Like, you can't believe it. And then I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but you just immediately think, for me, I immediately thought, am I going to die? And, I just thought, like, is this it? And it's not like one of those like life flash before your eyes moments, but it's just very much like, and then I'm also medicated, which helps a lot of ways, but also hurts because anti-anxiety medicines, for as calm as they make you, they also make you more emotional. So I wasn't feeling anxious necessarily. I was more calm. Like, my heart was calm, not the racing and the speedy. But then I also just was told I had cancer at the same time. So it was very confusing. So then the only way my emotions could come out, since it wasn't like anxiety, because I was on a drip avoiding anxiety, it came out in this like extreme emotional, just barrage of tears, waterfall of tears. And I think I probably said over and over and over for 2 weeks, anytime a doctor would come in, am I going to die? They would say, any questions today? And it would be the same thing every single time. Am I going to die? Almost to the point where I was like, it was a joke to me. Like, by the end of the few weeks that I was doing it, I'd be like, am I going to die? Ha ha ha. And they'd be like, oh my gosh, don't be so. But they also are good at handling, these kinds of cases, because they deal with it every day with, the cancer ward is not always a happy place, believe it or not. Right. So, it's not like Disneyland. So I think they were also used to people with a dark sense of humor who are coping with this kind of vibe. So it really went back and forth from just utter shock and upset to just black humor, like dark humor, where I'm like, okay, well, if I die, I'm going to play this song at my funeral, until finally the doctor gave me the 70-30 results, which was like the percentage. And even to me, I was like, well, that's a very low chance still, 70% chance to live. Like, I wouldn't place money on that. If the option were if someone held a gun up to my head and said, okay, it's seven empty slots, but 3 full ones. Right. If you get, you can have $1 million if you play this Russian roulette with me. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do a 70-30 chance, So I'm sitting there thinking 70-30? Are you kidding? That's horrible. But I had to trust the doctors and trust my mom, who said, listen, I looked at the other options without the transplant and it's less than 50-50. So this is your option. So I had to do it. And eventually it just becomes from the shock and the worry. It never goes away, but eventually it becomes this numb thing that just like anything else, you eventually accept it, just like you always do, Yeah. So I accepted it, and then it was time to get to work, so to speak, which for me just meant lots of chemo and laying around.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think an important thing to note, aside from the very short window of time, which we'll get to in a minute, the short moment of time when it came from Germany. But I think that it's important for folks to understand that originally the diagnosis was 50-50. And then that's when it became the 70-30, is because then they said that then they would put 10 more % on it because you were young. And then because you were in the weight class of, I don't know how they worded it, but because of the weight class and because you were young, that they would add another 10%. So then it became 70-30. I think that's important for folks to understand that it originally started at 50-50. And then from there, the doctor moved it on to 70-30. You know, for folks listening, wow, I had so many questions, but I want to make sure that we make this notation of your transplant came from Germany with 24 hours before the travel ban, because this was basically during the pandemic at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it was my transplant. I was admitted to get my transplant March 6, 2020. And at this point, COVID was in the news. It had already affected China. It hadn't gotten to Italy yet. And while I was in the hospital, it had reached Italy before my transplant. And then my transplant was scheduled March 13th. And that Thursday night, we were watching the news. My mom was still allowed in the hospital room with me at this point. And we were watching the news, and they were saying, we're thinking of closing the borders. We're thinking of not doing not allowing entry just to kind of control this virus. And at the same time, I knew that because the way they do stem cell transplants, they have a very short window where they're kept live. They can't be frozen. Like a lot of things can be frozen, but stem cells are not one of those. And so it was a very specific window. The guy had donated on, I want to say, a Wednesday, and now it was a Thursday that they were getting everything prepared, and it had to be to me by Friday. By the time of and I was also, side note, getting other treatments done, like injections and shots to get my own body ready for the transplant. I had done radiation for the first time, 6 rounds of radiation, which is very intense. I had done 6 rounds in 3 days, which is like, usually people do like 1 round a week, and kind of, so it's like very intense to get your body ready. So it was like, I'm in agony. I'm throwing up for the first time. Like I didn't throw up a lot during my actual diagnosis because once they figured out it was leukemia, because they were giving me nausea meds and they were treating it. But prior to the bone marrow transplant, I was throwing up. I mean, it was the pre-workout for it was so hard. And the thought of having to do all of that again, and then having to find another donor, and all of this stuff was like, please don't let this happen. Do not let this happen. And my mom left for the night, and she said, we're just gonna, a nurse came in the middle of the night, and I vaguely remember it because, I'm on morphine and all sorts of shit. And I said, I woke up and I said, is my stem cells, are they? And she said, they're here. It was like 3 a.m. She said, they made it. And I remember just like calling my mom and just like waking her up and be like, they're here. And we were just so, like, this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Yeah. They made it. I'm still going to get my transplant. And my mom was still able to come in because they hadn't done the no guests yet. And literally I get my stem cell transplant, which is an uninvasive procedure. It's just, it's just stem cells. So it's like in a bag of blood, just down in an IV. And so I fall asleep, I get it done. She hangs out with me all day. She leaves. And then the next day, I get the alert. She gets the alert. No visitors are allowed. So that means the next 45 days, it's just me and the nurses recovering from this very scary procedure alone. So it was wild. But again, one of those things like, had it been a day later, I might still be doing another year of chemo, trying to get caught, there just could have been so many variables.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And I thought it was interesting. It was pop music that got you through it. What was it about pop music that got you through it? And as well as a friend gifting you with an iPad. So it helped with the TV and all that good stuff and catching up on shows. But what was it about pop music that kept you?
I'm such a mainstream bitch. I love pop music. I love like you said, I love Britney Spears. And it's always been my favorite type of music. Part of it's like growing into that confidence of who I am. And it's like, this is the kind of music I like. I own it. I'm proud of it. It's my favorite stuff to rock out to. Sorry. The Dr. Pepper, gets me a little bubbly. But pop music is just, obviously it's designed to be infectious, to make you want to dance, to lift your spirits. Most pop music, of course there's ballads and sad songs, but I was listening to Britney, Katy Perry, Kesha, Lady Gaga, the girls who really, Beyonce, not Alicia Keys is a little bit slow, Nicki. I just wanted the fast songs, the songs that really were like, I didn't need to hear Britney Spears sing the slow song she has. I didn't need to hear Beyonce sing Halo. I didn't need to hear those sad songs. I needed to hear people just being like, I need Katy Perry saying, "Baby, you're a firework," and me being like, "Yes, Katy, I am, woohoo!" And it energized me, and I was low energy. I could hardly catch my breath still. So they were having me practice just saying the words along to the songs. And so that helped me because pop songs are fast. So, when Katy Perry starts saying like, just because it's over doesn't mean it's really over. And she's saying all these lyrics really fast. I would say them and be out of breath, saying them, trying to sing to the song. So it really, not only did it help me mentally, it helped me physically because it helped me get my breath back. And then I would sing as I walked. And sometimes it would just be me walking from the bed to the chair, but I would put on a song and I would make it a moment. It would be Sasha Fierce Jared leaving the bed and Sasha Fierce entering the chair. Yes. And, I'd get up and just have a moment of like, I need my pop divas, because all the pop divas have, they have that, that alter ego that you can channel. I was Lady Gaga. I was ready. I was putting on my invisible wig and saying, I'm going to get my disco stick over to that chair. I'm going to do this, and it lifted my spirits. That's what it came down to. It lifted my spirits.
Yeah. I love that. Speaking of lifting spirits, let's play a little bit of story time.
Okay.
So we're going to play a little story time remix. So because you have a history with the Britney Spears drawl, the accent, the Southern accent,
which I try and hide, but it's here.
It's all good. We're going to, in alphabetical order, come up with makeup line names, but we have to say it in a country Southern drawl accent.
And we're making up our own line. We're not saying we're not saying MAC Cosmetics.
No,
we're making up our own
brand. We're
brands.
gonna make it up. I'm gonna try my best to keep track of all of the amazing products that we've created. And we'll go in alphabetical order.
Okay.
And if you can't think of one on the spot, you got to take a sip of your Diet Dr. Pepper. And
I'm gonna be burping the whole time.
That's some 805 over here, and then so.
Oh yeah, what's your drink of choice?
Oh, I've got a beer, just 805.
Okay, cool.
Keep it California.
All righty.
A little 805 beer. So yeah, if you can't think of it, you take a sip. Then the letter goes to the next person.
Can we be dirty?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I'll let you have A.
Okay, well, I would start with my first product, which would be called A, asshole mascara to keep those asshole hairs tamed. It is a great product and it's vegan and cruelty free.
Yes, I love it. We need that Southern twang. I'll call it.
I forgot with my twang. Okay, I'll be back with letter C with my twang.
Asshole mascara.
Asshole mascara. Tame those hairs.
And it's vegan.
No pigs were harmed.
None at all. Just Bubba. Okay, let's see. All right, so I have B, who is beautifulicious.
Okay. I would buy
Bootfulicious. I don't even know what it does, but it works.
It sounds like it does. Okay, so I'm with C. I'll give you a little Dolly Country Cream. It's a little it's country cream from Dolly Parton. And it's just got, it's made with honeysuckles and a little bit of tree sap and of course, a little bit of cow's milk. And this cream is what keeps Dolly looking youthful, sweetie.
Yes. Yes, I love it. I've got D. Well, this dick in a glass will help. Just throw it on your face.
Rub it around real good.
We've made a strong left, guys.
We are. Well, I mean, I kicked things off with asshole mascara. I mean, I really set us up for disaster.
And no, it's
okay,
all
let me
good.
Let me try to.
I will go
try
there
to pull
with
us
you.
into a different direction.
No,
what letter comes after? What's our next letter? Even?
E.
Oh, we're on E. All right. Okay, I'm going to do this as my Georgia cousin. He doesn't speak like this now, but Georgia twang is very different.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm going to show you Esther's ointment. It treats all of Esther's boils, bubbles, and bibbles. Apply generously. Esther's ointments.
Esther's ointments. Okay, I've got F. F.
We're good at this.
You're right. Ferocious Fanny. It props up your booty.
Ooh, we all need a little butt lift product. Actually,
right.
Okay, FG. Well, it's got to be something from a goat. I know that much for sure. So I'm going to say it's my goat hair. It's my goat hair weave, of course. It's my goat hair weave. Now available on HSN, which is not standing for the Home Shopping Network. It stands for the... no, on BSN, the Barnyard Network. I don't know if I can know, but yes.
The Barnyard Network.
It's my goat hair weave, okay? It's a beautiful beauty line.
That's amazing. I wonder if anybody ever wears goat hair.
I mean, I've known they do goat hair makeup brushes, which freaks me the fuck out because I would not put that on. I do not believe it. I think it's so weird and not, but yeah, they use all sorts of horse hair, goat hair. Yeah, just get synthetic. It is not worth it because you don't need to catch rabies from your makeup brush. Let's just put it that way.
I got more than pink eye. Okay, let's see. H. Highfalutin taste buds.
Okay. H-I. Oh my gosh, am I gonna no wait. Incestuous eyeliner. Just because she's your sister doesn't mean she can't be your mother.
Incestuous eyeliner. You say eyeliner?
I don't know if the product at this point matters as much as the catchphrase and the brand name.
Right.
But yeah, this time it was an eyeliner, just so we're specific. Trying to impress your cousin who's also your grandma? Right. Try incestuous eyeliner. It now
cousin
comes in 3 shades. Yeah.
Hey, cousin Try
Mall. Kissing cousin?
Oh shit. Okay, I've got J. Oh god. Jelly and butter. That was so
You know
bad.
what, though? I feel like that's actually a beauty routine in the South. I like actually feel like there's someone who's like, listen to me, I swear, I take my jelly and I rub it all over my face and then I cleanse it and then I take a stick of butter and my skin is as softer than a baby's ass. Patricia, I tell you. I believe that one too much, and I grew up there, and like I believe that too much. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Kay. Well, no, I still haven't done the Georgia, the slow. Okay, so this will be Kathleen's big lips and tiny mustache hair remover. That's how it is in Georgia. You slow. Everything's so slow. No one's got anywhere to be. Until you get into Atlanta, then it's a different story. But outside of it, I mean, people got nowhere to be. Nowhere. So you can pluck your mustache hair one piece at a time. Kathleen.
One. Let's see. I've got let's see. Wow. Llamas. Who's got a llama?
Once again, I'm not fully convinced that that's not a beauty routine in the South.
Right.
Just llamas.
Right. Oh, gosh.
JKLM. Okay. Wow, it's mother's milk, of course. It cures everything. From athlete's foot to yeast infection. Just squirt a little mother's milk on it. Can come from cow, goat, sheep, or your own mom. We are also co-sponsored by Incestuous Eyeliner. But no, it's definitely mother's milk. I'm sure mother's milk is the product.
Playing next on Kissing's Cousins TV. Let's see. I've got N. Nest and Beehive.
Oh, they'll sting you so good. Who needs Botox? JKLMNO. Okay. Oh my God, a pig escaped. That's just the name of the brand. It's called Oh My God, a Pig Escaped. It's a beauty academy.
Oh my God.
You walk in looking like pigs and you walk out looking like fine swan.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I almost spit my beer out. Let's see. Peggy's poop does body good.
Now in capsules and anal capsules. Okay. Q. Quarter-sized hemorrhoids? Quarter-sized hemorrhoids? Try quarter cream. It's made from pure nickel.
Oh, God.
On a stack of quarters, hemorrhoids are gone.
Quarter cream.
Oh, my God. This is too much.
Let's see. I've got R. Right there is the stuff. That's the name of it. Right there. Right there. Right.
And Matthew McConaughey is the salesperson, huh?
Right. Yeah, he is.
He gets out of his Lincoln and he's like, right there.
Right there.
That was a very Matthew McConaughey, like Texas accent.
Oh, thank you.
That was very Texas. Yeah. My mom's from Dallas. So my dad's from Georgia. My grandma's from New Orleans and my mom is from Texas. So I grew up in Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina. So there are different accents. And that was You just served us Texas on a platter.
Well, I appreciate that because I love doing different accents. So you have like a slew of different Southern types of accents just in your family alone.
Yeah.
Like I tried to do a New Orleans accent and they didn't like it too much. They didn't like it. They didn't like it too much, baby.
I cannot talk like how my great grandma talks. No way.
No.
No way. Even though she like, I can't explain it, but even if I tried to imitate my grandma, who is a white woman, it would still be cultural appropriation. That's how, like, it's like, I'm not even sure she should be talking the way she talks. You know what I mean? Not in 2021. I mean, God, you know, she's about 99, so I don't think there's much time to change, but
Right.
oh Lord, I don't even know what letter we're on.
Let's see. S. We're on S.
Oh, well, shit's a kicking. The shit's a kicking.
Shit's a kicking. Yes, I love it. Shit's a kicking. Oh shoot.
Oh, shit's a kicking.
Let's see. Shit's a kicking. Shit's a kicking. Shit's a kicking. All right, I got T on the teat. Teat. I'm just gonna call it teat. On the teat.
Oh yeah.
Teat.
Fresh from the udder.
You gonna get it right there, fresh from that teeter right there. That teat.
And of course, I've opened because we are in a desperate Hatfields and McCoy battle. I've opened your competitor company, which is Udder.
Yes.
Why
Yes.
use when you can get it straight from the udder?
Straight from the udder. Ooh, I got V. Ooh. The different places we can go with the
As
V.
a lesbian, does this excite you?
Right, exactly. Do I go with the low-hanging fruit?
I mean, we have been hitting them every single one. So.
Sure have. We've been going straight through those weeds. Let's see. J. I'm sorry. V. Vagina. Vagina stuff. There we go. Vagina stuff.
Oh my gosh. I could see this being a companion to Right There. You know, it's like the female companion.
You're right.
Like, for men, we have Right There. And for female, we have
Vagine stuff. Vagine stuff.
Okay, so TV. What am I?
It's TUVW.
W. Okay. Oh well, duh. Wrestling a wild boar. Wrestling a wild boar.
Wrestling a wild boar.
Wrestling a wild boar.
I love it.
To clear your pores.
Yes. Oh, let's see.
WX. Oh no, you have X.
Ooh.
Wait, is X after W? WX. Yeah, it is.
X. Xenophobes are us.
I don't even think we need to do the last two of the alphabet. I don't think we can top. I think that's the store where all these products are sold at.
Right. All of these can be found at Xenophobes or Us. Come on down. Right next
I can finish it for you. You can come, and if you don't know how to spell xenophobe, spell it with a Z, and that's the whole alphabet.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That was perfect. Oh gosh, I live for that. That was amazing. Oh,
that was amazing.
Wow. Before we get out of here, I want to make sure that we do talk about, you know, the amazing, incredible work that you're doing as an ambassador for BeTheMatch.org. And I thought it was interesting the fact that you had sent my way on and I would love to share it with the folks that are listening and watching. And that is that right now, a Black person with the exact same disease that you had only has a 20% chance of finding a match. And you had over a 70% chance of finding a match, and you were able to survive and go into remission. And the international registry that you had used, it was an international registry that you had used, and that's why it came from Germany. But that was because you're a white, cis male. So it's different for folks of color. Can you maybe further express to folks that are listening the importance of being a part of this?
Yeah. And I want to just say that understanding like the genetics behind the science of curing cancer and diseases that are blood diseases are all based in genetics. So what we have here is not an issue where it's like a white person is refusing to donate to a Black person. It's not that. It's unfortunately because you're going down to splitting hairs of DNA, so much so that my own brother and sister, who are not half brothers, they were my full brother and sisters, they are only a 50% match to me. So I wasn't even able to use my own family as a match, which is usually the most common way to do it, because usually one of your siblings, especially if you have multiple siblings, usually one of them has at least a 75% DNA makeup. But with my case, it was just 50%. So you have to remember, we're dealing with splitting DNAs. So yes, on one level, all humans are the same and it doesn't matter about ethnicity. But when it comes to be the match, it does. And that's just because if you think about genetics, if they're going to use something in my stem cell or someone else's stem cells to go into my system and it can't reject it because it's a transplant, just like a heart transplant and a liver transplant. But this time it's involving DNA because, a heart, they can pump your own blood through the heart, but this is my blood system. So again, it's the DNA, which is why we need diverse DNA in this registry, because we live in a diverse world. And that's the fact of the matter is, in countries like Germany, it's required to be a donor, or if not required, it's strongly encouraged, which is why so many people have their lives saved by Germans of all ethnicities, because Germany is not just a white, country, of course, duh. But I will say Germany, because they practice this policy of everyone signing up and encouraging everyone to sign up, they have the highest rate of people who are able to donate their stem cells, but it is still a European-centric nation. And that means most of their residents, although it is still diverse, are still white. So we need as many people of color, as many mixed people of color, because if someone is, 50% Asian, if they have say, for example, a Japanese father and a white mother, they're going to need for their Be the Match, they're going to need someone who matches that background. So they're going to need someone who is not that doesn't mean they're going to need someone who is exactly half Japanese, half white, but there is a science to that. So someone who has that, multiracial background is going to need someone who also has a multiracial background to be able to get cured. And there's a lot of stigmas around donating your blood and stem cells because, first of all, people think it hurts. To actually sign up for the registry, it is just a swab in your cheek, not a COVID swab. It is a simple swab in your cheek. They send it to you for free. They provide the shipping and you send it right back to them. Then they will store it in their system and, they'll get the DNA off of it and they'll store it in the system. The problem is people here store in a system and think it's related to a government. Be the Match is not a government-funded agency. That's why you notice it's a .org. It's a charitable 501c3.
C3. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, C3. So it is not there to collect any database. It's not there to keep track on anyone. If they wanted to do that, they have phones that they can keep track on us with. But there's a lot of fear and a lot of stigma going around. And also it didn't help because in the AIDS crisis of the 80s, people were turned away for wanting to give blood because they said, oh, you're gay, you slept with a man, or, oh, you had a tattoo, you can't do it. Be the Match does not follow any of those guidelines because like I said, they are not associated with, Red Cross. They are not associated with those organizations. They are their own private organization, not private like, oh, they could sell your information. It's still a 501c3, but people just don't know that they could save someone's life by just signing up, doing a cheek swab. And if you are so lucky to get called and save someone's life, all it is, they're not cutting you open to get your bone marrow. It's not a surgery where they have to drain your bone marrow. All it is like an extended period of donating your blood. So if you've ever donated blood, I get it. You get a little queasy, whatever, but that's all it is. And you can save someone's life. Some guy saved my life he doesn't know anything about me, by the way. He knows nothing. He didn't even know that I could die. They don't tell, because they don't want you to feel guilty if you turn it down. So they just want you to know, like, hey, you've been called to donate this, it'll be used for a 31-year-old person. We can't tell you his, it's illegal to tell you my disease. Right. So it just has to be from the goodness of your heart. But I can tell you, it does not hurt. It's not a painful procedure to get done. They're not, any stigmas you have around, or any listeners may have around joining registries. Because trust me, that was the number one thing I got from a lot of people. They said, I want to support you. I want you to help you find your match, but I'm not comfortable being on a registry. And I had to tell so many people, listen, it's a private registry. It is not affiliated with the government. It is not affiliated with the homophobia. It is not affiliated with religion. It is not affiliated with any other ulterior motive than saving people's lives who could be cured. Because I could have been dead had I not found a match. It was 50-50. Yeah. And well, as we said, 70-30 eventually. But still, without that, the 70-30 was with the transplant. Without the transplant, it was about flip those odds. It was a 30-70 without the transplant. Wow. So think about someone who's my age, who's 31, who's Black, who's 50% less likely to find a match. That's not fair. That's not right. So as many people, I know I'm just a white person saying, like, people of color, come and do this. And that's so annoying. But people need to know that it needs to be diversified, that people are dying from sickle cell. People are dying from leukemia, from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. People are dying from blood diseases that are curable, absolutely curable, because they don't know about signing up for this registry. And the chances of being called are slim, but I would just think I would rather go to bed knowing I'm on that registry and able to save someone's life, because I could be your cousin. I could be your friend. I could be, and I was that to so many people. And for all of us, we are so grateful for that man in Germany who did, took the time to donate his stem cells. And I would not be here if it wasn't for him. So for me, that's why I'm so aggressive and say, just check it out. Just look into it. You can text. I can give you all the details to text, so they can text my name and a swab kit will be in the mail. It is so easy to do. Please do it. You will save someone's life. And I promise you, as a person of color, any people of color listening right now, I promise you, if you're under 45, the chances of you getting a call are so likely that you could literally be a hero without doing anything. And, it's a pretty powerful thing. And I get to meet my donor if he agrees to it next year. And
it could be I was just about to ask. Wow.
Yeah, it could be a connection that lasts a lifetime. And, it's really, really powerful. And I just can't stress it enough. Just please, at least even if you're on the fence, at least go to the website just so you can see. This is not, it's nothing to do with the Red Cross. It's nothing to do with anything from the government. Because I know the government's been so shady with the way they've treated the queer people and the Black community, and just how everything they've done has been so untrustworthy. BeTheMatch is not part of that. There's something new. It's based in science, and we can end these diseases. So let's do it. You know.
I love that. Yeah, I'll make sure that you visit BeTheMatch.org. Make sure you sign up, spread the word. Folks of color, especially queer community, LGBTQ plus community. Yes. This is your call to action right here, because you really never know who you're helping, who you're saving. So that's wow. I think the way that you just broke it down just now is very eye-opening, not only for myself, but I'm sure for people that are listening and watching. So yeah, folks, visit BeTheMatch.org. It'll be in the show notes. It'll be in the episode blog for all the detailed information. That's really remarkable. And so how does it work? He has to agree to meeting or okay.
Yeah.
So, but they have like a middle man person that
is my middle. Yeah. So BeTheMatch will act as your middleman. And it's something it's kind of like, what can I compare it to? Like adoption, kind of like if when you do the adoption process, if you decide, I want to meet this person eventually when I turn 18. Like, so I signed off saying I would love to meet this person because I would love to just thank them. And my family would love to thank them. But of course, some people just want to do it anonymously and don't want any credit, and they just want to quietly do it. So I don't know what it's like in Germany. Like I said, they're a little bit more open with it. It's more common. So I hope that's because it's so common that he does want to meet me, because I would love to give him a gift. Nothing will compare to the gift he gave me, but I would love to give him a gift and see him in real life and just say, at the time he was 28 when he did it, and just be like, wow, I can't believe a 28-year-old. Like when I was 28, I was so self-centered, like, Oh,
he was 28 or he's 28?
He was 28 at the time. Yeah. So I guess he must be 30 now, but yeah. So that's all I know about him was he's 28, just because they want, my doctors knew more about his physicality, but aside from that, it's like an anonymous situation. So that's the other good thing is
that's
like,
incredible.
if you choose to be anonymous and you want to donate, you have that option too. You don't have to be blasted on a podcast. You don't have to talk about it. Like, it's your choice. So
that's incredible. Before we get out of here, we usually end on words of wisdom. What is a words of wisdom that you'd like to leave the people with?
I think my word of wisdom would best be the mantra that I lived by while I was in the midst of the most suffering that I was going through during my cancer treatment. And I had this as my phone background, and it's very, very simple. And it just says, this is temporary. And you can look at a message like that in a couple of ways. You could look at it and say, oh gosh, that means life is short. Anything can end at any second. And yes, that is true. But we already know that to be true. We know life is short. We know life is precious. We know it's not going to last forever. So I like to take the flip side of that meaning. And for me, it meant that pain that I was feeling, that suffering that I was feeling, that hardship that I was going through, it was all temporary. And I told myself that when I would wake up in the middle of the night feeling like my back was going to eat itself with pain. And I would tell myself that when I woke up in the morning, and it would be my reminder on the background of my phone. And it turned out to be right. That suffering was temporary. And just like all of life, everything's temporary. And sometimes that's a really, really good thing. And sometimes we need it to be temporary. So if you're going through a rough patch, remember, temporary. It's all temporary.
Yeah, I love that. On that note, y'all, there's a new episode every Wednesday. Make sure you reach out to Jared. His information will be in the show notes. Make sure you follow, subscribe on Instagram at JAMPACKED Show. You go on YouTube, youtube.com/JAMPACKED. Make sure you reach out. Make sure you go to BeTheMatch.org, sign up, at least get on the emailing list, start to understand, do your research. Folks of color are needed. I do remember what my question was, but we could save that for another time.
If you want to do it, we can do it.
No, I was just more curious of the homophobic language in the legalities of giving blood, of doing bone marrow. I mean, is there any progress on that end as far as trying to fix that verbiage?
There is an organization that is affiliated with BeTheMatch just to show how great BeTheMatch is and who they decide to align themselves with. So it's a very small organization called Homoglobin instead of hemoglobin. And they are actively working to not just change the verbiage, but to reverse those disgusting laws put in place by, I believe it was either Nixon or Reagan. I guess it must have been Reagan because it was the AIDS crisis. Or Nixon. Oh my God, I don't know presidents like that. But anyways, I don't know the bad ones, the horrible. Oh. Right. Anyways, the point is, They are doing work to reverse not just the verbiage, but the legislature that made that horrible verbiage even possible, where people have to lie to donate blood. And even it's still relevant today when people were trying to donate COVID plasma to help study it. And, Andy Cohen from Bravo TV famously couldn't do it because he's an openly gay man in the media. And so Homoglobin, a very small but mighty organization, they are doing the work. They are putting in the work. They are not alone. They are teamed up with a lot of lawyers and LGBTQ activists to change that. That's not my main focus at this time because there's so much that I need to do with getting the people life saved from BeTheMatch and on the registry. But yes, they will be changing that verbiage. I have good faith in Homoglobin, and that's another great organization to support that's doing that work.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you again for taking the time to be on the show. Y'all check out Jampacked every Wednesday, dropping new episodes every Wednesday morning. Follow at Jampacked Show, youtube.com/Jampacked, and we will see you on the next Jampacked.
Peace out, peace out, peace out. Put 'em in the air, ain't no